Hello folks, and welcome to G Crochet Off the Hook. It is already Friday the 7th of March, and I realized if I didn't sit down to share what I barely got off the hook this week, it wasn't going to happen. Autumn is in the air, I think only really in the mornings. It's definitely been darker the last few weeks, but the temperatures have just been a real challenge this week, between 33 to 36 degrees Celsius, and I can't say that I've coped very well. In fact, some days it's just felt like my brain is on a different planet and my body is just somehow following along. I really haven't been able to keep my thoughts straight. It's really just been that crazy for me. So I did start off with my corner to corner this month's square with the corner to corner House CAL by Repeat Crafter Me. Was a castle which I have finished, and there is the castle. This is our third corner to corner square. Wasn't too bad. There was quite a bit of color changing. I am realizing that as I go, the first half always seems to be the trickiest with the color changes, but once you get that halfway mark done, the rest of it seems to go pretty fast. So I'm very happy with this one. I did use our Ella owl yarns, and the colors I used was this beautiful citrus with a school grey and another lovely green. This one is soft lime. And then from the Chick brand, I used also an owl yarns. I used the mustard. And this one is already caked up. I used, I think, at least 4 different little balls of the silver grey. And obviously you are left with, between the 3 that I've done so far, each little project container, you are going to land up having smaller scrap balls, which I'll most probably use in some of the other squares that are coming down the road. But at the end of the day, even if this was the very end of the project and I had a whole lot of these, I use all my little scraps like this, and I make scrap blankets. Yarn ends blankets is the word that I normally use. And although I would normally want to color control and all the rest of it with these yarn ends, I don't. I'll just grab this. Since last year, I have been busy with a rectangle yarn ends blanket, and it has grown really well in size. So depending on what project I have finished, and I have a whole lot of little pieces left, I just start the next round and add them, no color control, and you do, whoops, dropping a few things, you do end up with a surprise. This one is turning out to be a beautiful surprise, and I'm going to go until I make it at least a single bed size. And for this one, I did, during the end of last year, also add a little applique. I think it's from Nella's Cottage. I did add a little applique right in the middle. So that's what's going to happen to all the yarn ends from my amigurumi projects, from wall hangings, from whatever I've managed to crochet. All those little yarn ends, however small they are, will be going into my rectangle granny blanket, and as you can see, it is growing quite nicely in size. Now the weekend was pleasant, and I did think that autumn would be showing its true colors, but we're not there yet, as this week has proved. But over the weekend I was happily, because this is becoming rather a heavy project, I did complete the one sleeve, and I had started on the second sleeve, and then I think it was Sunday night already, the humidity hit, and we've just continued with that humidity and heat and all the rest of it. And this is rather a heavy project with a lot of warmth in it, and I just couldn't bring myself to sit with it on me, next to me, anywhere near me. So I've decided, until the weather does cool down, which apparently we may be getting some cooler weather next week, I do really want to wrap this jersey up. It's our 28th wedding anniversary, the end of March. I do want to have this completely finished and not say, could we fit it on, and rather just say it is now complete and it is yours. So do a final handover instead of just the fitting on. So other than that, I am still going through my pattern stash. I have pretty much completed my files for all the patterns that I have printed. And unbeknownst to me, because I haven't really been in my files for a while, I have been using a little stamp I see, various stamps, some of them the same little stamp, and where I have actually stamped the top of my patterns as I completed them. So if I have a few of these files, they are very heavy, but if I just, for instance, if I had completed a pattern, I have stamped that I've completed it. So going through my file, this one is from A to M, I pick up from having done the pattern that with a little smiley face stamp, it means I have done it. And as I go through my pattern stash, I'm noticing I have pretty much stuck to doing the patterns that I have on hand. And the same with my magazines. I've now been through my 2 boxes. And if I was surprised to find that even these have tagged. So as I bought a magazine, I can't remember when I did it, but I know I have done it. In fact, I think this was one I did for my daughter a few years ago. But I am finding that I have been diligent in marking and tagging my magazines and my files with a stamp as I've completed something. I have put a mark on it to say that this has been done. So I'm feeling pretty good that between my printed patterns and my magazine stash, I've made good on those purchases by at least making one crochet project out of these various patterns that I have on hand. My biggest struggle at the minute is I have so many PDF patterns, and I have broken them down into sort of animal categories or themed categories or dolls, and I'm trying to figure out as I go through them how I can stamp that PDF file, perhaps in the title of how I save it, with a number or a capital letter in front of the name of the actual PDF file, so that at a glance I can say, oh, you know what, even though it's a bunny this or a cat or a elephant, if I have A in front of it, for instance, they'd all jump to the top of the list. Or even if I put a 0 in front of each title, then when I open up that particular folder, I'd most probably be able to see, okay, everything with a 0 or a capital A in front of it, I have actually done those patterns. I must look at those that have nothing in front of them, just have a title. And hopefully that will help me choose and get through which patterns it is that I haven't completed yet. Because truth be told, that is where I have at least over thousands of patterns that I have gathered over the years. And if it goes as well as my magazines and my printed patterns are, then I'm hoping that I have made a lot of them. But it remains to be seen what, with regards to the PDF files that I have on hand, I have or haven't completed. So with the weather being this hot, that's where I've spent a lot of my energy, is just reading instead of crocheting, really. Whew. And even as I sit here now, it is so humid. I can actually feel myself break out in a sweat. And this adventure that I'm on, going through my pattern stash, constantly reminds me of many things that I have crocheted in the past few years. And it's not just the patterns, but it's also the different yarn that I've used. And I haven't used t-shirt yarn in quite a while. Not for anything specific, but I was reminded that I went through a phase of making many t-shirt yarn projects. Now, first of all, I think one of the reasons why I'm not doing as much t-shirt yarn crocheting is it can be very taxing on your hands. And also the material itself isn't always very consistent. So you could buy balls of t-shirt yarn like this, and I think this would be sort of a medium size. And then you could buy t-shirt yarn like this, and this one seems to be thicker than the previous one. And that's what made me not enjoy using t-shirt yarn too much with projects, is I wouldn't and haven't to date found a reliable purchase that I could make. I've always found that the t-shirt yarn that I buy might look great on the outside. I might think I have a really good thick t-shirt yarn to work with for a specific project, and then as you go through the t-shirt yarn, you'll end up getting very thin pieces or too many knots to make the project enjoyable. And I think that's why, between your hands getting a really good workout and the t-shirt yarn not being reliable from the beginning to the end, always left me feeling like I wasn't quite sure of how a project would turn out. That being said, I have made, and they are all around me, so I think I just see them as part of the scenery, not that I've actually made them. But I have done t-shirt yarn baskets with onto wooden bases, or used other yarn and just made the base as is. I've also made the little t-shirt yarn baskets for little projects, because they really are awesome little makes to either add something to it like an amigurumi, or for instance these little teardrop baskets that you could make, have little plants sitting in there, or these ones are actually from my bathroom. Or for instance, you could make, they would make great little gift hanging baskets where you could add some face masks, hand creams, little soaps, and then you could hang it anywhere really, in your bedroom or in the bathroom. You could put face cloths in there. So I used to enjoy making these, and then of course I have this written down on a piece of paper, so I'm not quite sure where this is from either, but I make these little shells. Again, you can add a tassel to hang it from, and again in the kitchen, depending on the color, you can put your garlic in there and have it hanging as a decoration, or flowers and face cloths, or give it as, you know, you can dress them up really nicely. Or in your entranceway as you come in, they're great to plonk your keys in. So a usable little ornament, and I have enjoyed making these. I haven't really seen many people interested in them. This one I had made this cute little tortoise, and he even goes in there nicely. And the last thing I found when I was remembering that I did this t-shirt yarn makes were these cup and saucer out of t-shirt yarn. I remember when my daughter started teaching about 4 years ago or so, 4 or 5 years ago, I made her one where she used to put her chalk in for the classroom on her desk. But I mean, you can fill them with little treats. I used to make them as little Mother's Day gifts. As I said, I can't say they were popular or anything. I think all of those that I landed up making, I gave away as gifts. But it's a really sturdy, I mean, depending on the colors or what you wanted to accessorize this with. I mean, you could put your bangles or necklaces, knickknacks in there. Or as I say, again, even on your entranceway, you could have it filled with mints or whatnot. Anyway, really going down memory lane and remembering all these little things that I used to make. And then something new comes along and you're off on a different tangent with something else. Anyway, that's it, folks. I know I've broken out in a sweat already, and I can't keep the fan on while I'm chatting to you because it's just too noisy. So I'm going to pour myself a cold one, put the fan back on, and get ready to tackle this weekend with some more blistering hot weather on Saturday and Sunday. and keep my fingers crossed that next week will bring us some cooler weather. So whatever you're crafting or wherever you may be this weekend, I hope you have lots of fun. Until we meet again, happy crocheting!